Peace and much love, Zin Uru here. Welcome to the latest installment of Message from the Minista. This week's message from the Minista is the last of the human skills. The last of the human skills. And this is going to be a little more of a free-flowing version of Message from the Minista this week. Because as I've been going about this week, I've been thinking really about what it means to have human skills. Now, when we say the last of the human skills, we talk about hip-hop being the last of the human skills. And when we're talking about hip-hop, remember, we're talking about hip-hop as consciousness, capital H, lowercase I, lowercase p, lowercase h, lowercase o, lowercase p. Hip-hop is one word. That's our hip-hop sight. That's our hip-hop awareness. That's our hip-hop consciousness. And this week we'll also be talking about hip-hop as culture, capital H, lowercase I, lowercase p, space, capital H, lowercase o, lowercase p. Specifically, we're talking about the 9 elements of hip-hop culture: breaking, MCing, graffiti art, DJing, beatboxing, street fashion, street language, street knowledge, and street entrepreneurialism. So when we're talking about the last of the human skills and hip-hop being the last of the human skills, we're talking about all 3 forms of hip-hop, even little h, little I, little p, dash little h, little o, little p. Hip-hop is product. We're talking about all of those and what it means to have a human skill that we can put to any of those subjects and objects in an attempt to express our inner consciousness, to express our inner being. Remember, hip-hop is the sight that helps us to transform subjects and objects in our environment to help fit our needs at the time, to help fit our inner vision. You know, we don't just look at a plant and say, that's a plant. I've been told that's a plant. We look at what else this plant can be. You know, like, for example, this bonsai tree, it's a little sad right now, but it's got new growth coming on. That's why I wanted to, put her up there just so we could all see the new growth that's coming in. But this bonsai tree is a certain type of plant. I want to say this one might be a rhododendron. But, this bonsai tree is actually a being, and I don't mean to generalize you or put you in any kind of box. But a bonsai tree traditionally is shaped from a bigger, larger tree, and then they take it and they make a smaller version of it. And then they sell it to put in people's home for good luck, for peace, for prosperity, for health, love, awareness, and wealth, whatever it is. Certain trees and the way that they're designed and the way that they grow in the tradition of bonsai, it's a way to uplift the home. But it took a certain sight for somebody to see that at one time and say, yo, look how nature, we can make smaller versions of what we see in nature larger, and we can put it in a pot, and we can grow it in a certain way, and we can put it in people's home, and it's going to be bringing these certain attributes that we want to bring into the home. And so as we're going forward this week, let's think of it as hip-hop as consciousness in that way, because we want to be able to apply hip-hop as consciousness to, health, love, awareness, and wealth, peace, prosperity, peace, love, unity, having fun, the way we eat, the way we exercise, the way we play, the way we write, the way we build, the way we think, the way we even drive. We can use our hip-hop consciousness to recreate our reality to suit our specific needs as a people, specifically as hip-hoppers. And now when we get into the culture as well as the last of the human skills, we can go right to the core 4, like breaking, MCing, graffiti art, and DJing. Like, those take real human skills, and they take time to master. So often we see people set out on paths, but they don't take the time to master certain things. People don't want to hear, it's going to take a decade to master that. What do you mean a decade? I need it now. I mean, the power of, the law of attraction, and I watched The Secret, and it just says you can just have everything now that you want. And be careful with that. Be careful with that. Because when you build your skills, when you take time, you don't get plugged in like Neo in the Matrix. It takes time. It takes years. It takes as the teacher told me, he's like, Zin, this takes a long, 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 long time. And I was like, this is like my first month into my apprenticeship. He told me that, and I was like, whoa, let's go. And, I was thinking a long time, like, that's a month or two. And 10 years later, I was realizing, man, he really meant this takes a long time. When we're talking about building the temple, when we're talking about, starting our own schools and building our own city, this does take a long, long, long time. But, it's also just a flash as well. It just happened so quickly. My apprenticeship began back in late 2004 officially, but really in 2005, on January 9th, 2005, I really put that as the date that I had entered into the temple at that time, and my apprenticeship directly from the teacher's mouth to me, in person, have began. And so, looking back, that was 2005. When it was 2015, I was going, wow, it did take a long time to get to where I'm at, to where I feel comfortable, not even comfortable, but it's beyond comfortable and confident. It's like I actually know what I'm talking about when it comes to the hip hop lifestyle, because I've been living it so long. And not just the hip hop lifestyle, but the hip hop spiritual lifestyle that we talk about in our book, The Gospel of Hip Hop. And it was really around 2011 and 12 after I started going through these shifts and changes in my life. And, I was coming out of the darkness, so-called darkness, into the light. And when I was coming into the light, I was like, yo, man, I can't believe how much time just went by. 7, 8 years just blazed by. 2015, 10 years just blazed by. 2021, 16 years just blazed by. So when you start hearing these things, this is really for the younger people out there too. We start hearing like something might take 10 years to master, like a certain skill set could take 10 years to master. And you'd be like, yo, that sounds daunting. Like, that sounds incredible. That sounds crazy. And when people are older, I think they think that too. They're like, I just turned 40. What do you mean it's going to take 10 years for me to master yoga and be able to, make my body do things and feel a certain way all the time and get rid of all these aches and pains? And what do you mean it's going to take 10 years? And I think, it's like, well, would you rather be, 10 years from somebody who's 40, it's like, would you rather 10 years from now when you're 50 to have acquired this and to have mastered this? Or would you rather turn 50 and look back and say, wow, I wish I would have started when I was 40? This really gets also into, our future selves are depending on us now, just like who we are now in this moment have been depending on our past selves to get us to where we're at. And for, really, really get that, because your future self is depending on you. And for those young people out there, you're like 18, 19, 20, you're like, oh man, 30. I've like 10 more years. I've only lived 20 years, so 10 years is half of the life I've lived. That's like I was 10 years old to 20. That's a lot of change. And I'll tell you though, that 20 to 30 goes by quicker, and that 30 to 40 goes by quicker. I just turned 48 a few days ago. And thank you all for the birthday wishes, by the way. It's truly appreciated. And, and from 40 to 50, boy, that happens quicker. So I'm sure 50 to 60 is going to happen quicker as well. So do this. This is why when we find our purpose, like if preserving hip hop culture is our purpose, this is why we got to add to that every day. How do we preserve hip hop? By preserving the hip hopper. Now for me, the reason that I'm so adamant about teaching the youth and talking to my younger nobility out there, the reason I'm so adamant about it is because, I wish I had the gospel of hip hop when I turned 18. I mean, before that even, but I wish I had a book like that. I wish I had the gospel of hip hop and there was a temple of hip hop and I could click onto YouTube and watch the teacher every Sunday, or watch a Minista Zin Uru. I would be stoked if I was that young again and I could see that and be like, yo, wait a minute, because I didn't start asking what's my purpose in life until I was already in my 30s, my early 30s, and I was already, I had a wife and children and car payments, and I had already committed to a career as a landscaper. The story, I tell it all the time. But I had never asked, what's my purpose in life, God? It's crazy to me now to think that I had never really asked, what's my purpose in life? I wish I would have asked it when I was 18. But that's what makes me special in that way too. That's what makes my ministry unique, because I can also say to my older nobility out there, like, yo, you're never too old to start now. It's never too late to start now, to start putting in the time to master your skills, especially and really only those human skills. Because I consider, like, when I was doing landscaping, that's a human skill. It actually takes, there's machines that can help, but we've got to manipulate the machines. We could dig trenches with a trencher, but you still got to be able to work the shovel. You still got to be able to know the human way to move the shovel and move the dirt. There's all kind of measurements you have to know as a human skill. There's all kind of mathematics you've got to know as a human skill. You've got to understand plants and plant life as a human skill, and soil conditions and weather conditions, and there's so much to know. But I didn't like landscaping. And big up, if you love landscaping, I've said it before, big up. I didn't like it. I just kind of fell into it. So looking back when I was younger, those years, I have this skill mastery that I don't even like doing, and I don't do, because it makes me sore and tired, and it doesn't ignite my soul fire inside. I'll do it around, the house or whatever, but it ain't really, what it is. So if you're younger, this is to you. Master those skills, those human skills, that you can get paid. And we're going to read from Perform Skill tonight, from the Gospel of Hip Hop. We're going to be reading from Perform Skill, which is one of the principles of the 18 principles of the divine performance. So we're going to get into that, the third overstanding, the divine performance. But with Perform Skill. But if you're a young person, and if you're a parent of young people, start asking your child, what's your purpose? I was asking my kids what their purpose is when they were, 4 years old, 6 years old, 12 years old, and as they were growing up, I'd ask them what their purpose was, and I got some wild answers. I'm going to be a tiger keeper. I'm going to plant forests. And I'm like, yo, that's awesome. Do that. That's exactly what you should be doing. Plant the forest. You want to plant forests? Go ahead. I'm going to be a butterfly. Okay. Good luck with that. but it gets the kids thinking, and their imagination gets to run wild on, like, what is, I want to cut and scratch records. I want to be a graffiti artist. They started saying that as they were getting older, and they started hanging out with the teacher and going and seeing what hip hop was all about, but they started getting into philosophy. They started getting into these creative aspects, and they started thinking about the way that they were dressing. And it was amazing, because they were just playing and having fun. And really, let's not forget that either. Like we as adults, we need to remember what it was like to play. What it's like. This for me, like doing these messages from the ministers, although they oftentimes take a serious note, it's also play at the same time. And I know as a kid, like my funnest time of playtime was when it got serious. Like that's why I loved, like we used to play pick up baseball, football, and basketball. Like it was just like, or wrestling. We'd have like a battle royale in my backyard, me and my brother as kids. So we'd have to have all these multiple skills, like, to be able to throw a football, take a tackle with no pads in the dirt and the mud, be able to rip a baseball, be able to pitch, be able to field, we had to be able to do it all, be able to shoot a hoop, we had to be able to do it all. And as kids, because like that was play for us. Play was sports, play was athleticism, or we'd get into our imagination, and we were raised around like the U.S. military industrial complex as kids, so we had G.I. Joe and Transformers, and everybody's always shooting everybody, Rambo and the Terminator and all of that. We grew up in that era, and so as kids, we'd go out and we'd be, running around the yard, climbing up on, people's roofs. I mean, we were doing, whatever we could do with these plastic guns and we'd always be ambushing each other and stuff like that. But that was play. But like I'm saying, there is a serious note to play. So don't, Frisbee golf, like what I was doing today, like it's serious. Like I want to hit that mark. I want to hit that target every time. So I'm serious about it. But I'm also having fun. I'm laughing at myself when I'm missing. I'm joking with myself. Like if I miss a shot, I'll hear Bruce Lee in my head go, "What was that?" But so remember that playtime is fun time, and it can have a serious note. Like this for me is play. I don't even know like hip hop, the lifestyle. We're always playing. Like it's just like we're playing records, we're playing music, we're playing videos, we're making playtime, we're making like. Why did we lose this as kids? Why did we lose our sense of joy other than the system that we were raised in doesn't have that concept because it's a colonized system that doesn't know joy, that doesn't have happiness, that doesn't have childhood, that doesn't have, peace, love, unity. They don't have hip hop. But we do. We got hip hop. And so as somebody who lost his youth and then regained it as he got older and refound it, discovered the fountain of youth as hip hop. I take this real serious at the same time. Like my playtime is serious. Like when I'm making albums, like I'm working on Electric Garden right now, and I'm working on Ark of the New Covenant right now, and I got these albums, and it's serious work because I want it to sound right, and I want my rhymes to be better than the last album. I want the music to sound evolved from the last album, but I want to keep my roots sounding the same, and I want to make my mixing sound better, but I still want it to have that Zin Uru sound. So there's a lot going on in that, and there's a lot of human skills that I've developed over time to be able to create the music and the album that I wanted to create. But it took time to get there. But I'm very serious about it while I'm playing at the same time. And this is something I want to pass on to all my nobility out there. Like there are times that you're going to have to take a job that make sure it's a job you like, though. There's a lot of jobs out there. And I would say this too, as I was growing up, the question was always asked, like, what kind of house do you want to live in? Where do you want to live? Never got asked, how do you want to live? So for me, I jumped in head first. I had car payments and house payments and every kind of credit card payment and every jacked up, with the whole biggest cable system payment and stereo equipment payment and all these payments. So I'm just working all these hours because I wanted to live in this city and I wanted to have a big 2-story house and I wanted to have, a wife and kids, and that's all good stuff, but I never asked, how do I want to live? Because, all of that, like we say, where do you want to live? And people start saying, I want this house and I want to do this and this and this. But then you got to provide that, and there's certain sacrifices that have to be made. And what do I mean by that? Because we're talking about human skills here. Being fit, being in shape, being vibrant, being energetic, that's a human skill. Being healthy, that's a human skill. So if we're working all the time, working day in and day out and day in and day out, and it says something that's just to pay for this house that we wanted or to pay for these things that we wanted, but we're losing our health? Wow, take a step back for a moment. Take a step back and say, how do I want to live? For me as an example, I got to have time in my day to meditate. But working, that means that I've got to have time in my day to exercise and be fit and eat right. I got to have time in my day to study. I've got to have time in my day to work music. I got to have time in my day for a lot of things. So if I have a big giant house somewhere that costs $2,500 a month, $3,000 a month, $3,500 a month, that means that I've got to make the money and put my time and investment into the money to have $3,500 a month, where I've been there making a house payment, $3,500 a month, But I didn't have time to do anything else. All I was doing was working all the time. That was it. Any overtime I could get, anything I could get. At $3,500 a month, this is back, 15 years ago, and $3,500 a month is the house payment, the car payment, the electricity, the internet, the phone bill, all of the food, all of that's, around $3,500 to $5,000 a month, just depending on the month. Gas in the cars, vacations, all of that, So So I had this idea set in my head before I asked what my purpose was, and I was living it, and I was able to generate that kind of money. Fast forward to now, though, and I'm like, wow, instead of having $5,000 a month in bills, can I have $800 a month in bills? So that means that I don't got to work all those hours for $5,000 a month. I could work for $800 a month. And you sit there and go, $800 a month, like that's crazy. You might have to live somewhere that you didn't think before that you wanted to live, but then all of a sudden it fits your lifestyle. You might move in with roommates. You might have multiple people sharing a large house with space that has maybe one of the rooms as a studio. You move in with other musicians, or you move in with other hip-hoppers and other artists in that. And I'm not just speaking to the youth here either. If you're older too, like start thinking like this. It rejuvenates your youth. Your youth starts coming back to you, living in a situation that isn't just solely about money and demanding money, but actually requires human skills. And so I found myself living in certain places and times, and even now where like my expenditures aren't really high, so I have the time to do the things I like. And for a long time, for many years, there was a conflict because I was like, oh, if I could just have the biggest house and those cars I used to have and all these things I used to have and used to work all those hours for, I kind of miss those in my life. So but then I'd start working again and start making money again and start doing it. And nothing against making money, like make your money, get your money upright, get your money straight. That is it. Last of the human skills though, it's better to live a lifestyle that fits the life that you want to live as opposed to the things you want to have. It's better to live a lifestyle that fits the needs of the way you want to live and not about the things you have. I'm very Zen in that way. I like that I can fit all my belongings in the back of a pickup truck with a camper shell. I like that all my belongings, everything that I need can fit in the back of a pickup truck or a small U-Haul, and I could tow my whip around in that and be anywhere I want in the United States of America or Canada or wherever it is, Or that I could just pack a couple bags of things and move to another country and survive and pick up the things I need because I'm not attached. I'm not attached to the physical world like that. I'm not attached to things. Because what I'm attached to having time to do yoga, to do Tai Chi, to do meditation, to hike, to play Frisbee golf. I'm attached to writing. I'm attached to making these videos. I'm attached to making music and performing. I'm attached to teaching hip-hop culture and preserving hip-hop culture. And I don't really need a whole lot after that, It's made my life go from a very heavy, overburdened life to a very light life, like it's light. It's a lightweight life. And I've enjoyed a lot of freedom with that, but with that freedom comes responsibility. And when we get into the spirit realm, when we start talking about human skills, and we talk about consciousness, we can probably get into the human skills also being all the divine performances. And one of the things I've noticed is when I've taken that walk of faith, when I go forward in faith, and God says, "Hey, I want you to move over to Guerneville, California, up in the Redwoods. I want you to move over there, and you're going to be moving into a house with like 8 other people in this house, and you're used. I'm used to having my own. I had my own studio apartment, my own space." I answered to nobody. I heard that call, but I was like, I felt myself going there, right? And so I went with like $300 in my pocket and paid that the first month of rent to rent a room in this house. And in this house, all of a sudden, like just all of this movement was going on, and I was used to being somebody by myself, but then I started learning Theta. Big up to Dove Moses out there for teaching the brother Theta. Always appreciated, always appreciated. Much love to you for that. Like I learned Theta in this house, and I learned all kinds of things and had medicine ceremonies in this house, but I had also responsibilities too. And so I noticed that God started bringing me work. God started bringing me work. They were jobs that maybe weren't my quote unquote purpose, But they did help support my purpose that I was living, because while I was staying up there, I was learning how to freestyle better. I was getting to work on music more. I was getting to perform more, So I was getting to live my purpose, but I wasn't getting paid for any of those things at the time. But what I was doing was I was getting to live the hip-hop lifestyle, and God was finding me jobs. And because I have a valuable work ethic, now this is something else, a human skill is having a valuable work ethic. So one of the last of the human skills, I'll tell you this, is just showing up on time and doing a good job, taking pride in your work, having that skill that takes pride in your work. Because I went into, I was up there in North Cali up in, it was like a full-on hippie scene, it was like North Cali ganja growing hippies up there. And, a lot of free spirits, so to speak. And while I was up there, I went and I would get these trim jobs where you just sit and trim weed. But then, I talked to people like, oh, you did landscaping before? Oh, you know how to do this? Oh, can you help work on my garden? I'll pay you $30 an hour cash under the table. I was like, what, $30 an hour? $30 an hour to trim some weed and to plant some weed, to manicure a garden, to move some pots around, to replant things, and get my hands dirty and in the soil like I love, move some drip irrigation around. Like, yo, I'm down with that. Let's go. Let's go. $30. I was working a pickaxe, bending over backwards in the sun for like $14 an hour, just 10 years earlier. Or 8 years earlier even. And so now all of a sudden, I'm sitting there getting $30 an hour, and I'm getting all the free weed I could smoke, and I'm surrounded by all these, free-spirited hippies. I was like, yo, this is great. God, thank you. And be mindful of that God will bring you the work that you need to make the money when you follow your purpose, but that takes faith. And you got to be willing. You got to be willing to do the work that God brings you, even if it's not in your quote-unquote plans. Okay? Like, the dollar store. Like one time I moved in with my brother, and I was like, yo, I need a job. God, I don't even know this town or nothing. And his friend comes over literally like an hour later. Like, this is one of my quickest answered prayers. I was like, God, I just need to find a job. Can you just send somebody to help me just find a job? And I was thinking send somebody like I was going to go out of that house, send somebody to me. I was go out of the house and just run into somebody. Literally like an hour later, this dude comes in, and we're like, he's my brother's friend. He's like, hey, you guys know anybody who needs a job? I was like, I do. And I started working freight for Dollar Tree. And I wasn't making much, and it was only like 4 or 5 hours, but it was just enough money I needed to sustain myself to live my purpose. So many jobs have come like that. And this is where, when you walk in faith, God walks with you. God is preparing the way ahead of time for you. See, I think when we say, oh, I got to quit this job, like I got to have some people need to have another job lined up. I've quit so many jobs in my lifetime, I've left so many jobs in my lifetime because my human skill is I'm intelligent, I show up on time, I'm a quick learner. Listening is a human skill, and you need listening as a human skill. It's a divine performance. The second divine performance, perform listening. It's a human skill. But when you could take listening and show up at a job, and you can listen and follow instructions and do a job and have a pleasant attitude, that's it. That is not hard to do, just showing up with a pleasant attitude and listen. Oh, you're going to get promoted. Like, I was 19 years old. I was 19 years old because I had been given these human skills by my parents. I was 19 years old, and I was a floor manager of a department store. And I had 30 people working underneath me at 19 years old, and only a few of them were younger than me. They were calling me Mr. Laurie. John Laurie, that's my birth name. Mr. Laurie, And it was weird to me, it was normal for me at the time. But as I got older, everywhere I'd go, I'd listen, which is a human skill, be attentive, which is a human skill, have a pleasant attitude, don't bring the drama of home life or don't bring your personal drama to work. Like, I learned this from, I grew up in a working class town. Like everybody had to work. And so even as a young kid, when I was mowing people's lawns or delivering newspapers or whatever it is, I was instilled with this work ethic by my neighbors, by the people who I went to church with, and by my parents, especially my parents. So if you can show up and do a good job, but take that to the next level. Now you say, I'm going forward and I'm doing my purpose, but I need to make some cash. I need to make some money. God's going to bring those opportunities to you. And if you have those human skills, not necessarily the skills for the job, but the human skills of listening, paying attention, having a pleasant attitude, and being competent, you're going to go far in life, and any job you have, they're going to be happy to have you. And they're going to want to pay you more, and more job opportunities are going to come along the way as you're perfecting your purpose, as you're living your purpose, as you're knowing and developing your skills as your purpose. So when we say hip hop is the last of the human skills, and I just entitled this one, The Last of the Human Skills, we're talking about hip hop as consciousness in that way, because we want like a pleasant attitude, being nice to be around, making, telling good jokes. Don't be offensive with your jokes, tell good jokes, tell funny jokes. I worked at a warehouse. I had to tell dirty jokes as I was working with a bunch of hoodlums, So we had to tell, I had to have thick skin. People could make fun of me. I had to be able to give it back like I got it, I had to be able to burn somebody while they was burning me, and then that's how I earned respect as a young man. And you've got to have that. You got to have a thick skin, but you've also got to know, the time and place for that kind of humor. When I was hanging out with the hippies and the free spirits up there trimming weed, like my sense of humor had to be a lot different than it was when I was working with all the hoodlums at the warehouse. I had to have a different sense of humor. Being around the dudes has a different sense of humor than having women in the environment. Different sense of humor, different appropriate senses of humor at those times. So, I say that to say that a lot of times in life, people don't remind us that having a good attitude, having a pleasant attitude, being easy to be around, being positive, that those are human skills that go a long way. They go like people look up to that and respect that, because you can bring peace to a situation, you can bring calm, you can bring a perspective to a situation. And everybody going to work got jobs and dramas and this, that, and the other, but you're on your purpose. Because remember, you're not a guy with a job who MCs on the side. You're an MC who just happens to have a temporary job while you're working towards your purpose. You're not a DJ. You're not a grocery clerk who DJs on the side. You're a DJ who does a grocery clerk on the side to get those bills paid until you can get your bills paid through your DJing skills. And if you're a DJ, really look at that. Where are you willing to live right now to perfect your skills and you perfect your skill mastery? Where are you willing to live? What is that? What is that? Are you willing to stay on a couch? Are you willing to get rent a house with 5 other people who are all artists and doing the same thing, and you guys are splitting the bills? Yeah, it's kind of hassle because you're always bumping into somebody and everybody eating your food, and you gotta navigate around that. But that's better than having to work all the time, have no time to master your skills because you're working all the time, but you got a house that's all to you, or an apartment that's all to you. So think about that. What's the quality of life that I have? What are my human skills in that quality of life? And remember, human skills here. The human skill, are you skilled at being a human? Are you a human being? Are you skilled at being? And I realized this a long time ago when I was looking at I was starting to worry about, the crash of the economy, the coming crash of the economy and the new world order and them wanting to, just turn everybody into microchips and just all of that. I used to worry, what am I going to do when that happens? And there's no need to worry. Worry is denial of God. Let me put that there, okay? And that's where I'm at now. But it wasn't because I got so prepared and I had machine gun ready and the sword ready and 2 years of survival food ready and, 300 gallons of gas in the Humvee and the mobile home ready. It wasn't any of that. It wasn't any of that got me prepared. It was because I realized that my performed skill of communication, that I can communicate, that I'm a good communicator, that I'm a good listener, that I have a good attitude, that I have a good vibrational frequency, that those things that I need just find their way to me and through me. Okay? So if shit goes down, like the worst case scenario, and shit goes down, it's really about your attitude, because attitude is everything, like we said a couple weeks ago. It's really about that part of you, that human skill, your communication skills. Are you articulate? Can you listen? Can you see? Can you be at peace? Can you be centered? Can you be, can you not have your emotions run you amok? And the fear and all this and stuff. And then you start realizing that it's never going to happen. Like worst case scenario and all this shit hits the fan and it's open warfare outside. Like that ain't going to happen. At least I don't think it's going to happen in our lifetime. Never say never, they say. But, that just knowing that you can go forward in the worst case scenario with just the clothes on your back and the shoes on your feet. And even if you didn't have those, you had to run out the house in your drawers, that you still got the skills to attract the new clothes, the new boots, the new backpack, the new computer, the new car, whip, some work, whatever it is that you need. And that's a human skill. That's faith. Faith is a human skill. Confidence is a human skill. Peace is a human skill. Now, let's get into breaking, emceeing, graffiti art, and DJing, the core 4 elements as human skills, too. Because we talked about this, months ago, but the teacher told me, you could put the core 4 elements against any demonic force and you will win. And I remember saying that it was a mystery to me at the time, and then I realized that demonic forces, as we talked about devils, things like depression, worry, fear, doubt, etc. When you perfect one of those core 4 elements in hip hop, breaking, emceeing, graffiti art, and DJing to where you're a professional at it, to where you're pro at it, to where you can pick up a mic and rock the crowd if you're an MC and you got songs that you can go for 20 minutes or you can go for an hour and a half, and that you've got the energy to do that, and you've got the vision and the sight, and that you're prepared to do that. That journey to go from not being able to do that to being able to do that, that creates a character in us. That creates a character in us, and this goes for any skill, any of them, but these core 4 elements specifically, that creates a character and a pattern that you can follow anywhere else in your life. Like talking about that, like when I was working ganja, me and Dove would freestyle when we'd be at the trim table. It would be like freestyle sessions. And that gives you social credit. Not like Chinese social credit system, but like social, real social, in your social circle, like getting social, like that's social wealth. Yo, that's Zin, he can rap. Yo, that's Zin, he knows about hip hop. Yo, Zin, tell us about, what is the temple of hip hop? What is a hip hop spiritual lifestyle? What is it? And so all of a sudden, you're a likable person in those environments. Have something to say, have that knowledge. But the only way that comes together for me, I found that confidence was when I could actually put my skills on display and rhyme. Or put my skills on display and rhyme over a beat, and then somebody hear the song and they like it. Same thing as a DJ. Like the only thing that's going to give a DJ confidence is when they're and the crowd's like, oh, and they're cheering, and the people are like, oh, I like that mix you made. I just, I got that I downloaded the newest mix you made, and it's so dope. Like, how did you do that? Oh, you make beats? Like, how did you do that? Like these are conversation starters that lead to other things. People trust you more when you've mastered one of these skills. If you're a dancer, oh, you got it going on, man. If you could dance, like you go out to the party or the club and people see you dancing and you're uplifting their spirits, once again, people notice you. Oh, this is my homie, so-and-so. He dances. Oh, you're a dancer? Yeah, he just needs a job right now. Okay, yo, come over here. It works like that. Graffiti art, like graphic artists, like graffiti art can go into photography and making murals for people's jobs and cooperatives and working for cities and doing whole murals on the sides of buildings. Like the graffiti artist has got one of the most viable art skills if they're dope at it and they have a unique signature and they can give the customer what the customer wants, or they can give people what the people may not even know what they want, but they find out they need it later. See, these are human skills that can get you paid. The way you can mix and master music and engineer music, that's a way that gets you paid. Yeah, go out and be a life coach. That can get you paid. Like you've gone and you've lived some life. You've made a lot of mistakes and you could teach from those mistakes. You got wisdom to help other people not make those mistakes. People float me $50 all the time because I give good advice, because I know what I'm talking about, because I've been there. I'm 48. I've stubbed my toes. I've fallen down and picked myself up so many times that I can look at a young person and be like, yo, here's what you can do. Here's how you can streamline your way. Here's how you can get from point A to point B. Here's a secret passageway that will get you there. Here's how you think. No, you ain't got to trip over that. Come to a superior mind state. That's what a coach does, right? And so if you can do that for people, people will give you money too. And you don't got to just have one skill. You can have multiple skills in all these different areas. Can you heal somebody? Do you have a skill that's healing? Can you teach the yoga class? These are actual skills, and these are the last of the human skills. Like, they don't require no technology to do any of these skills. That's why they're human skills. Like, it doesn't take no technology to have a good attitude. That takes you, the human technology, but you don't need no technology for that. Dancing, you don't need no technology to be a B-boy or a B-girl. No technology. Somebody can have a hand drum and you can get off. Same with rapping. Rapping don't take no technology. I can rap with this body. I can rap in the dark. I don't need no lights on. I can do that, Even DJing, you don't need technology to DJ in the way, because it's not the technology that's manipulating the DJ, it's the DJ that's manipulating the technology as a human skill. Because remember, the record was an appliance before the hip-hop DJ. Before Herc and Flash, the record player was an appliance, and you didn't know no human skills, so just get and drop a needle on a record, close the dust cover, and sit back and listen to the music and say, this is nice. And that's technology. That's technology directing the human. But when Flash got that turntable, was like, once Flash was behind the back and all that, when Flash was putting the human skill, when Flash was manipulating the technology with the human skill, he made a multi-billion-dollar business. He created that for millions of people, and everybody, every DJ should give Flash $100 a month if they're making money as a DJ. Every DJ making money should send Grandmaster Flash and Cool Herc and all the pioneers, make a fund for them, because they invented a job for you that you're living off of now. I mean, think about that. They invented the job out of nowhere, out of nothing, with the hip-hop sight, with the hip-hop consciousness. Out of a need and something pressing inside, revealing its truth. They were hip to their hop. They had this intelligence springing forward into action. So when we say hip-hop is the last of the human skills, I'll even take it to all 9 elements. So we got, breaking, MCing, graffiti art, DJing, beatboxing, that's a human skill. Rest in power, Biz Markie. Didn't say that last week because I was just kind of absorbing that one. That's an icon. You talk about a super hip hopper who could, is DJ, beatboxer, MC, a b-boy, entrepreneur. His skills all the way, his fashion sense, his sense of humor, like super hip hopper for us all to look up to, and big up to Biz Markie for the life you live. What an inspirational person you were to so many people. And you are with the ancestors now of hip hop, and thank you. From all of us here, we just show so much gratitude. So much gratitude. So beatboxing is a human skill. Yeah, I was just thinking about Biz Markie and Will Smith in the Men in Black movie. I think it was the second one, and or maybe it was the first one. Yeah, it was the second one. And they had a language. They were beatboxing. They were talking to each other in beatbox, And so beatboxing, that's a human skill. You don't need no technology to beatbox. Breaking, singing, graffiti, DJ, and beatbox, street fashion, like the way that we dress. Like that doesn't really take any technology. That's a human skill. You might have to have a knife or scissors, but you can even chip a rock away and make a cutter with that, And how to sew, that's a human skill. The hands to sew, even if it's a sewing machine, it's still a human skill to manipulate the clothing the way and the textiles the way that you want them to look and to feel and design work. That's a human skill. Street language, that's a human skill. Like our language, that's a human skill. Because when we're talking in hip hop, we're like using definitions and words that they don't say that we didn't learn this in school. Yo, that's fresh. We don't learn that in no school. Yo, that's just dope. That shit is dope. You mean that dog poop is a drug? Oh, that shit's dope. That's language right there. So when we use our words and we use our language, that's a human skill as well. Street knowledge, knowledge, that's a human skill. Graffiti art, street fashion, street language, street knowledge. Okay, so yeah, street knowledge, that's a human skill. Like you got to know how to study. I was thinking this week, like with all my studies in hip hop and my studies in the spirituality and my studies throughout my life, like there's no degree that they have in any college or university beyond a professor. I'm a self-creator. I'm a self-created being. Like there's no degree. Like my degree that I've given myself by the books I've chosen to read and my expertise in certain subjects and certain arenas of life and certain things in life that I've gotten for free because of my study and my time, which isn't free because time is time. Time is valuable in that way. I've invested my time. Like there's no degree for that in the world. Like there's no degree, like doctors and stuff. I mean, maybe some scientists or doctors have got to go to school for 15 years. But this is like 20 years deep into philosophy, 30 years deep into philosophy, and not just as a semester here and there, like all year round, right? And so when I'm able to bring the books and bring the insights and stuff like that, that's a lifelong passion. That's my purpose. Same with the teacher. I use him as an example, but I was doing a lot of those things that he was doing in forms of study. I just picked it up somewhere along the line that I could learn about all this, and I don't got to go nowhere to learn it. I can learn this on my own, or I can attend lectures, or I can pay a little money to go to lectures and learn and deepen my study on certain things, but that's a human skill. Knowledge is a human skill. Street knowledge specifically is a human skill. And I think it's great for young people too, because if you got a YouTube and the Food Network, you could be a master chef. You could spend 5 years and become a master chef without having to go to no culinary school. Like you don't even got to go to school to be a master. Like you could go on YouTube and learn how to be a master carpenter. You could go onto YouTube and learn to be a master electrician. Like you can learn skill mastery where you ain't even got to go to a trade school anymore. You can just learn for free if you want to invest your time in it. That's all knowledge. Like that's so valuable, the resources that people have and the stupidity that they spend their time on. If you're young and you're addicted to Netflix, but you're not learning those skills from YouTube, you're a fool and you're wasting your life and you're wasting your time, and it's going to bite you in the ass when you get older. But if say like you're 16 right now and you're like, yo, I'd like to master cooking. Like I could see myself whipping up a meal for 15, 20 people or for 2 people. And I could see myself getting paid to whip up that meal. And I got some ideas in my head about cuisine. Or I want to open up my own food truck, but I got my own certain idea. You don't got to go to school for that. You don't got to get no certification for that. You can go and become a master chef right from your home. Go out and get the products, so, learn how to make with, Anthony Bourdain, rest in power, Anthony Bourdain as well, was saying like all the greatest foods of the world came from poverty. See, so you don't even got to have the money to buy those foods. Find those things that you can afford, the rice and the beans and the certain spices and stuff that you can get, get the healthy stuff. How do I cook healthy and clean in the environment that I'm in and make a food and a meal that people want? People will pay you for that. And then as you say, I want to take this to the food truck, those other resources, people will come and help you out on that path. So knowledge is real. That's a human skill. And entrepreneurialism as well, that's a human skill. Like how to talk business, how to talk money, how to be valuable. I was saying this earlier, like that's entrepreneurialism. That's part of entrepreneurialism. It's not just selling things. It's selling yourself in that way, not selling out and not selling your soul, but showing up, having a good personality, showing up on time, having a good work ethic, listening, being competent, all those things. That goes into entrepreneurialism as well. How valuable of a character do you have that people want to trust you with, that they want to spend their money on you, or they want to send money to you for your product or for your services? That is a lot of it. I don't know how many dope MCs I've met that you hear them on record and you're like, yo, this dude's dope. Yeah, and then you meet him in real life and they got a bum personality. They got no personality. They make trouble, they cause a lot of drama. They got a bunch of issues, and then I remember this one MC, man, I'll never call him out by name, but everybody was like, oh, he's the dopest rapper. He's so dope, man. This guy had this sick flow and lyrics and stuff. And he's just an asshole, just an arrogant, stuck-up, conceited asshole, whining all the time, getting in fights all the time, just a bad attitude. Nobody wanted to hang out with this dude. You go back and listen to the CD, and it's like, you know what? I don't know. I don't really like the music no more. It can't happen. I can't even, I hear his music now, it just sounds mundane. Where before I met the dude, I was like, yo, this is great music. And then you get into the personality, and you're just like, I don't like the music now. So be mindful of that. You might have a dope skill set where you are one of the dopest MCs out there, or the dopest DJs out there. And if you show up arrogant and bossy, and you show up and you're conceited and you're causing drama and problems and just being an unnecessary burden on people around you, they won't bring you back, because there are other options out there. You're not the only dope MC out there. You're not the only dope DJ out there. And nobody owes you shit. So having a likable attitude, being professional, that's a skill set. That's street entrepreneurialism. Being professional, that's a human skill. Being professional with who you are, that's such a human skill. Professionalism, being a pro at it, being a professional human, showing up, yo, hello, I'm a Zin Uru, professional human. I'm really good at being a human. I'm really good at life. Professional liver of life. Boom, So think outside of whatever the paradigm the world wants to give you about who you are and what are your human skills. And every year, every month, get those human skills going, and it seems like an anomaly when you meet people who are in the matrix, which is going to be most of the people you meet a lot of the times. It seems like an anomaly. Like when people ask me, so what do you do? It's like, where do I start? I got to just pick one thing. I got to pick one thing, but then it's so interesting because they only do one or two things in their life, so they think you only got that one thing, and I got 20 things I'm good at. I got so many things I'm good at and that I've mastered and I got a high level of skill at, and so what do you do? Oh, I'm a secretary. That's it? That's all you got? Oh, man. What do you do, Zin? I'm an MC. I'm a minister. I'm a hip-hop philosopher. I'm building a temple. I'm building a city. I can cook. I'm fit. I can exercise. I can teach yoga and tai chi. I can mix and master music. I can rap. Which one do you want? I can even landscape if you want to go there. Gem light therapy. What do you want? What is it you need? So I got a long resume like that, but this is the hip-hop site, and this is what our population looks like. Every hip-hopper I know is multi-skilled. And don't lose your humanity trying to please the world. Trying to please the world, and everybody got an idea. Oh, here you go. What kind of house do you want? What do you want? This is best for your kids. Everybody telling you what's best for you and your family. But you ain't listening to your heart. You got to listen to your heart first and turn off all the noise of everybody else. And I mean that. You got to turn off all the noise. Turn the volume up on you and turn the volume down on everybody else. There will be people who come into your life that you definitely need to turn the volume up on, because they got something for you that is for you, that God has brought them into your life and you into their life for a reason and for a purpose. So you don't just shut everybody out. But you got to shut out all the noise and all the naysayers and all the negativity and all the blah, 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 even the well-intentioned, They say the road to hell is paved with good intentions. I was like, well, I got good intentions and I ain't going to hell. I'm not paving no road to hell. I got solid intentions. Like, my intention is strong. Like, I intend to do these things and I do them, and then I intend to do new things and I do them. But then I realized it's a lot about what other people's intentions are for you. Now, isn't that interesting that other people have all, because I don't really have no intentions for anybody else. I don't sit there and be like, oh, my intention for you. What would make me comfortable is if you were fit into this box for me. I take it or leave it. I'm just like, if I got something to value, great. If we vibe, great. If not, peace. That's what it is. I don't need anybody to please me. I don't need no family member to please me. I don't need no friend to please me. I don't need none of that. And I don't expect nobody to be looking at me like that too. You know what's best for you? But I went through that, and then I just realized like it ain't worth it. Because if you're trying to please your inner voice that's coming to life and please everybody else at the same time, they are always going to win. And you will always sell yourself short in that way. It's the physics of it. If you're trying to serve two masters, the one you ain't supposed to be serving is always going to win. Every time. Every single time. And it ain't always a bad thing. I show up, I'm working in the herb industry and I'm competent, I'm quick learner, I'm learning how to grow and just, I'm learning all of it. And then dude's like, yo, let me get you a house, and we get a new grow set up there, you'll be making, this much money next year. And I was like, yo, I can't, because that don't serve my purpose now. Like this kind of work right now, this cash, that I'm getting paid and this, this is working for me right now. But if I got to commit to a house that I can't move from and travel from, like that's not going to fit into my purpose. So thank you for the offer. It's much appreciated, but no thank you. Like you'll have to turn opportunities down that other people would dream of having. Get used to that. Get used to that. You have to get used to that you are such a valuable human being because of who you are inside and what you've created yourself to be as a human being. What is your work ethic? Are you pleasant to be around? Do people like you? But you're not going to find that person. You're not going to find out who you really are and who your purpose is and try and please that purpose and try and fulfill that purpose if you're trying to fulfill and please everybody else around you. You can't do them both at the same time. Sooner or later, they're going to win. And that's the physics of it. Until you can tune everybody else out and turn your volume up on you, that's the only time you will ever be successful in your purpose. And I mean it too, like you can't let the opinions and advice of all these other people and what they want from you or for you to cloud what you want from you and who you are and what God is asking from you as your purpose. Some people around you will be an assistance to that purpose, but most of them will just be noise. Turn them down. If they go away, great. If they stick around and wait for you, great. If they try to help you with your purpose, that's a friend for life. That's a family member for life. That's a brother or a sister for life when you get to that point. When somebody's looking out for you like you look, and you can look out for them, that's real. That's the only community that there really is. And these are human skills. Something like that community, that's a human skill. This site is a human skills, and these are the last of the human skills because everybody got that little Babylon box in their hand. They're looking at that little boop, 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 boop. Like reading a map, that's a human skill. Going on Google Maps, there's no human skill there. That's technology skill, and I use Google Maps, but I could read a map. I could open up a city book. We used to have these books where you go there and you cross-reference the streets where you want to go, and then you look at the little maps and you figure out what section it's in and look at the big map and how to get there on the freeway and what exit you got to take. You got to be able to read your country's maps and the highways and byways of the maps. Map reading is a human skill. Map making, that's a badass human skill. If you can make a map, but map reading, that's a human skill. Being able to read a map is a human skill. And you'd be surprised that some people, they're trying to navigate you and they got that and they can't even read the map that's right in front of their face telling them which direction they go. Man, that's an autonotron right there. That's bad news right there for that human. That's not even a thinking human being. And everybody wants to, what's the advice? What's this? What's this? What's this? What's this? And this is a learning device too. Like I said earlier, you can go on YouTube and learn how to be you can have your little Babylon box in your hand and learn how to be the greatest chef in the world. But that takes your human skill. The technology isn't manipulating you. You're using it to your advantage. It's not using you to its advantage. Even like the gig industry, they call it. Where you can go out now and you can deliver groceries with your app on the phone. You still need a human skill if you're going to be a dope Uber driver or Lyft driver, which is a great. Now, they didn't have that coming up either. If you're an artist, driving Uber or Lyft, need I say more? You can clock in anytime you want and clock off anytime you want. Man, I took that gig for a good solid, 2 years, and that was great. I made plenty of money in that time. I could work the hours I wanted, and I could have time to do the yoga and do the Tai Chi and work on my skills and go to the shows and do what I needed to do, and then just clock on when I was ready to work. I know plenty of people doing that. Like, that's great. That gig economy is great. But it still takes human skills to be a dope Uber driver. You got to have driving skills because they will report your ass if you don't. You got to be able to move and shift lanes and use the blinker and use your mirrors. You got to be able to follow the directions and not make them late. Like, it takes human skills. You got to have a pleasant attitude, knowing when to talk and when not to talk. Knowing what's appropriate for certain people in the car and what's inappropriate for other people in the car. Knowing how to play the music, what volume do they... There's all kinds of human skills involved. Even if you got something and you're looking at your little box, your little rectangle there, and it's showing you where you need to go next, it still takes a human skill to navigate that and to make the most money and to think, like, where's my most money going to come from? Should I park by the airport? Should I park by the restaurants on a Friday night? Where should I park in this neighborhood early in the morning to get people to work here? What hours should I work? Does working all night work best? Is working in the afternoon, evening, morning? You delivering food, that's another one. You got to know what hours is best. If you could stay out where there's restaurants that are open for 24 hours and the stoners want, chicken wings at 2 a.m. and you know where the chicken wing spot is and you're parked right there. There's so much human skills that go into that because you have to be a thinking human. You can't be an automated robot autonatron. That's what they're trying to turn the world into, a bunch of automated robots. And I was listening to Reverend Ike this week. Shout out to Reverend Ike. Put a picture of Reverend Ike up here. YouTube Reverend Ike, any one of them, you can't go wrong. There's thousands of Reverend Ike on there. Reverend Ike is a master metaphysician. And wow, I was listening to him this week. And he was saying that, that when it doesn't matter what you have, it's about your attitude. And if you have that attitude of gratitude, you have an attitude of wealth, wealth is going to come and find you. Say like you're driving Uber, but you're like, yo, man, I'm a chef, okay? I'm a chef and I've perfected my skills. I'm driving Uber right now so I can work on my chef skills at home. And then you pick up somebody and he's the head chef at a restaurant and then he's got a job opening and you become his sous chef. Or you could say to him, like, y'all keep driving Uber. I just want to work at your restaurant. I'll work for free until you're ready to pay me, until I've earned my way. What? Come on, let me show you what I got. See those kind of opportunities when you're out there? Those opportunities will find you. Those opportunities will find you and speak. And that's what Reverend Ike was big on this week while I was listening to him. Speak some power into your life. Speak some sovereignty and some dominion over your life. Speak some authority over your life. It's your life. Dis-ease be gone. Dis-ease be gone. I am the Lord of this vessel. I command you. I command dis-ease to be gone. And visualize that and watch it go. This works. You can heal yourself. So don't take this lightly. Like, your human skills are vast. Like, that you can just sit there in meditation and heal yourself of a dis-ease? What kind of skill is that? You don't need no health insurance. You don't got to work for health insurance if you can take care of your own health. If you eat right, we used to have a saying. Me and a partner, her and I used to have a saying. She was always really big on, we spend all of our money on really healthy, well, I still do, but all organic, wholesome foods. And that's called our health insurance. Since we don't have no health insurance, that's our health insurance is that good food, that organic food, spending the extra money on the food, that's health insurance. That's human skills. Knowing what foods to buy, that's a human skill. Being aware of that, that's a human skill that's independent of any system in that way. Rise up, my hip hopper, rise up, my nobility. See yourself different. What are your human skills? If you've got a copy of the Gospel of Hip Hop, which you should have by now, turn to page, page 177, the Divine Performance, number 12, Perform Skill. I'll put it up here on the screen, and we'll just read this real quick. It's only 4 or 5 paragraphs here, but man, what a great lesson this is for all of us. Last of the human skills. Perform skill. Because the hip hopper is independent and self-sufficient in the world, perfection of a chosen skill that is in demand gives the hip hopper a lifestyle that supports the seeking of her purpose in peace. As with the performance of discipline, seek the perfection of your chosen skill. Practice perfecting your skills. Notice the plural there. Practice perfecting your skills. Most people want many things for themselves. Some have dreams and goals they wish to achieve for themselves, but they just continue to admire the achievements of others because they simply have not mastered the skills needed to manifest their own dreams and goals. All goals require skill mastery to be achieved. Underline that one right there, highlight that one. All goals require skill mastery to be achieved. The most important question a hip hopper can ask when daydreaming, visualizing, praying, and or wishing for things in desirable situations are, what am I actually capable of doing? What can I really accomplish? What have I mastered? And what are my skills? Those without a perfected skill that is in demand will find it difficult to lead an inner city spiritual life. Having a skill that is in demand is what separates the one who is chasing resources and opportunity from the one who is chased by resources and opportunity. Attuned hip-hoppers are experienced in hip-hop's 9 elements, and we are experts at 2 or more of hip-hop's artistic elements. We seek to sharpen our skills in every phase of life that requires skill. Now check this out, my nobility. Look at this. In parenting, in teaching, in nurturing, in apologizing, in loving, in playing, in fighting, in speaking, in cooking, in working, in cleaning, in eating, and with all the elements of hip-hop, and with all the performances of the divine performance, perform with skill. Seek to be an expert at all that you do. Do nothing haphazardly. When performing your skill, you must be conscious of how skillful you are. Attuned hip-hoppers who perform the divine performance learn that each performance requires spiritual skill. In many cases, such skill is found and perfected in battles, confrontations, and threatening situations. We talked about this earlier. A threatening situation is when you are called by faith to go somewhere that God has for you, and you go, wow, I'm showing up out here with very little to no money, and I don't know what's going to happen next. And then when you walk in that faith, which is a skill, which is a threatening situation, and then it's confronted with you, walk forward because God will provide, and that is the faith. Never seek confrontation, but never be afraid to fight or display your skill. And that confrontation, that comes the battle confrontations, when you gotta beat somebody in a battle, you gotta out-rhyme them, out-rap them, be ready for that. Get your skills up for that. Get your battle ready. Get your battle rhymes ready. But even that battle and that confrontation, that's life itself is going to confront you. The world itself is going to confront you. Be ready to display your skills. Somebody might try and knock you off of your center by being all emotional and angry and being an asshole to you, but you stay centered, you stay calm, you stay at peace, and you stay authoritative, and you will overcome that threatening situation. That is a human skill. It is when we are challenged by people, places, things, and events that we are made strong and skillful in life. For at the end of all human knowledge and strength, God shall appear. Once fully practiced in overcoming the challenges of life, the attuned hip hopper is spiritually strong and prepared to teach and lead others. Read that one again, because that's what this message is about, getting us all to this place. This is the promised land right here, I tell you that. Because I know it from not being here, and now that I'm here in this space, it is wonderful. Once you are fully practiced in overcoming the challenges of life, the attuned hip hop is spiritually strong and prepared to teach and lead others. Wow. Perfect your cultural, spiritual, artistic, and intellectual skills by performing your skills often. As Henry W. Longfellow once stated, "I will be a man among men and no longer a dreamer among shadows. Henceforth be mine a life of action and reality. I will work in my own sphere, nor wish it other than it is. This alone is health and happiness." Perform skill. Word. Perform skill, my nobility. It takes skill. Take the time to develop those long-term skills that you want to develop. Give yourself a solid decade and work on it every day. Work on your craft. Work on your skill. You're going to get shows. It's not like you're not going to have a show for 10 years. You're going to get them right away. Work on the skills of mastering your shows. It's not like it's going to take 10 years before you can make your first album in May. But you're working on your music as those 10 years proceed, and you're perfecting and getting better and better till you become proficient in it. Give yourself a decade to master what that skill is and pick up others along the way. But pick one or two skills that you want to master over the next 10 years if you don't have some that you've already mastered and are still continuing to learn and perfect. I'm talking to the youth here, those who are starting out on that path. Pick a skill and give it 10 years of non-stop work. And you'll be so thankful to your past self. You'll be so thankful to your younger self. That there is no gratitude you can express except for to live your life to the fullest. I live my life to the fullest is my way of thanking my younger self for the decisions he made. I can't front on that. And I battled with life. Life tried to tear me out. You know, the world tried to take me down, like it's well documented. Like you ain't even got to know the darkness I went through and the battles I had to fight to get where I am today. I wouldn't trade it for nothing because my skill set is impeccable. I'm a true hip-hopper. I'm an attuned hip-hopper. I'm a hip-hop minister. I'm a teacher in that way. I can teach hip-hop. I could go up and teach hip-hop for months on end. I teach this every week. I don't run out of no lessons. I got a new lesson every week. This is like number 24. This is 24 weeks in a row with something relevant to say to the hip-hop community. That didn't happen by accident. I wasn't just born with this gift. I had natural gifts, but I had to learn how to use those natural gifts. I had to put those natural gifts to work. I had to put the time and the decade of time into that. This didn't just happen because I ran around with the teacher and know KRS-One. Many people know KRS-One and ain't doing nothing with it. Many people have ran with the teacher and ain't doing nothing with it. I've seen so many people come and go. They put 2 years in and nothing happens, and then they bounce and they go back into the Babylon system or whatever the world's calling them. Great, they pick something up. It's probably helped them in their life. But this message is for those who want to just completely break free of that matrix and become a self-actualized, self-created human being with actual human skills. And I'm not saying this as somebody who hasn't lived it. I've already lived it. I've already perfected it. I'm speaking from a place of authority. So I don't care what, nobody got nothing to say to me. Nobody can say nothing to me about that. I got the battle scars from it. I got the skill set from it. What? I ain't saying that to brag. I'm saying that because you got to know it takes work to get here. It's well documented. It's well documented. It don't happen overnight. You got to be ready to put yourself down and push yourself through and get to it and get that willpower. And the younger you are, the better off you are. Start young. Like I said, I wish I knew this. I wish I was asking these questions in my early teens, my mid-teens. I wish I was asking myself, what's my purpose when I was 16? Oh, man. What a gift that would have been. But I'm grateful. I'm grateful because I wouldn't have it no other way. It could have been no other way. I couldn't even be me. So thankful for every moment. I wouldn't change a thing. But I would be doing a disservice if I didn't tell the youth about this opportunity you have to ask what your purpose is and start pursuing it when you're 18 and you're a young man, 2021. Come on, get to it. Get them skills up. Put that time in. Put that action in. If I was working on my MC skills from 12 to 22, woo! Because you get these different opportunities when you're young, because you're out in the party scene. Yeah, with all the other young people, it's just a different opportunity when you're younger. Get them skills up, my nobility. Get your skills up. Come on. Get fit. Get life going in you. I was thinking today, and we'll close on this. I was just, I went out today and I got to exercise, got a good sweat going, got the heart rate pumping, got the blood flowing, drinking a gallon of water out in the sun, and just feeling good and cleansed and energized. And I was just out there in nature on the grass and the trees, and I was just out there, and I was like, yo, we got to play, my nobility. Human skill, playing is a human skill. Being able to play is a human skill. So many times we look at exercise, oh, we got to do exercise. No, get out there and do something that you're playful. Ride a bike. Riding a bike is playing. Like, let's go outside and play. Let's go ride our bike. That was what we were playing as kids. Let's go play baseball or football or some kind of sport activity. For me, it's Frisbee golf. It just gives me what I need. I get a good 2-hour hike in. I sweat. I got to concentrate on something. My mind's on something else. It's just great to have something to go outside the house and do, and get outside to do that exercise. Quit staying inside. Like I said, like you be fit. You ain't got to be the most buff superhuman in the world, but you be fit and feeling good at any age. Like, you will always thank yourself. I think more clearly than those people who are 10, 15 years younger than me who's out of shape. I think more clearly. I've got more energy. I'm not saying this to brag. It's just physics. It is what it is. I can outwork most people half my age, all of them. Now, I say all of them because there's young people my age who's fit and athletic and energized or younger than me like that. That's why I'm saying everybody. But I can keep up with anybody at any time. And I remember my early 20s looking at dudes who was turning 45, and they was like old wasted men who could barely get out of their chair or out of bed, just hobbling around, life broken. I remember thinking at a young age, I ain't going out like that. That's why I learned Tai Chi at 21. I was like, I ain't going out like that. Human skill. Human skill. Don't go out like that, my nobility. And there's, like I said, you're never too old. Yoga. You can learn yoga. You can learn yoga off of YouTube. Go take a couple classes, apply the principles, and learn yoga off of YouTube. And I heard this thing. It said, the secrets of yoga won't really reveal themselves until 10 years. And most people don't want to put 10 years of consistent practice into yoga. But I'll tell you, 10 years of consistently practicing yoga over and over again. I'm on year 9 now. Like, there's secrets of yoga that you can't be taught. There's just these secrets. I can just pop my bones into place, pop my shoulders into place. If I get an injury, it heals super fast. Like, I heal so fast because of yoga. It's crazy. I mean, my diet and I'm fit, but you can heal yourself faster by being fit and by practicing something like yoga. But I didn't know that like 10 years ago. I just felt good to stretch. I was stiff. My back was hurting. So I just get into the yoga. And now here I am, 9 years later, and it's like all these secrets of breathing and sight and meditation, all these things that I didn't even know I was getting into have opened up to me. This whole world has opened up to me. The Kundalini energy, real talk, that Kundalini up the spine, out the wings, whew, that's real. So human skills, my nobility. And work on your elements, specifically one of the core 4 and one of the other 5. Work on breaking, emceeing, graffiti art, or DJing. Master yourself at one of those, and then work on your, beatboxing, street fashion, street language, or street entrepreneurialism, or street knowledge, street entrepreneurialism. Pick one of those other 5. When I started in my temple journey, teacher told me pick one of the core 4 and one of the other 5. I picked emceeing and street knowledge, and here I am. Here I am after 16 years. Mastered it, master of street knowledge, master of emceeing. You can do it too, my nobility. It just takes time and effort. There's no quick trip there. There's no magic pill. There's no savior gonna come and just give it to you. No Morpheus gonna come in that way it takes time and skill. You gotta put the effort into anything in life if you're gonna do it well and you're gonna be skilled at that. What are your human skills? I think that's enough for the day. Peace and so much love to you. I didn't say it at the beginning, so I'll say it now. Good to see you all here. No such thing as time and space. We are all here together in spirit. Thank you all for showing up. I got my PayPal linked at the bottom of the page here. If you feel like making a donation, it's appreciated. And big up to those who made the donation this week. From my heart to yours, peace and much love, my nobility. And even if you just have a good thought, share the video, that's great too. So find value in this, share it with your friends, or just take it to yourself and put it out there. So peace and so much love to you, my nobility. Go forward this week, master yourself, master your skills, and know that your God loves you unconditionally. And there it is.